get. You look at a guy like Des Bryant, who's made an excellent transition to the professional game. There is so much NFL talent here at the wide receiver position. It is scary. And the depth that Texas has lends itself to that because you have every type of wide receiver you can imagine, from the short, fast, and shifty to the taller possession wide receiver to the one that can stretch the field to the one that has everything. And that diversity certainly helps Brian Harsin and Major Applewhite call plays because it allows them so much flexibility in getting guys involved. And they even got wide receivers that could throw the football.
Yeah.
John Harris, Jackson Shipley, both have had successful completions and thrown touchdowns at that.
Yeah, and Harris was a high school quarterback.
Indeed. So, this is a group that I think, give credit to the gentleman right there coaching them up, Coach White. He's done an excellent job. Even when you look at their skill and what they're doing now, their route running ability, it has improved. And you got to give credit to the new coach here, bringing in new concepts, new ways for them to train, and bringing in new information for them to learn.
Well, your attention to detail and just your background, your eyeballs obviously are going to see route running and see it more at a detailed level. Do you think the route running has gotten better in a year?
There's no question. You see these breaks even here now in these routes, it's much more sharper. And what that does is that allows the quarterback to know that window is just a little bit larger because now you've turned your head a little bit faster. Your footwork is a little more precise, which allows that window to get more open. You see Deshaun Hills there opening up with a nice catch. When you can do that and you can turn your shoulders and make them wider, the small things that prevent a DB from reaching over the top of you to make a play, things like that, when you're being taught that, it makes it incredibly hard for the other guy on the side of the ball. Trust me, I know. And I'm impressed with the way they've picked it up. They've shown trust in their coaches in this new concept and the new ways that they're training and teaching. And it's been fun to watch how this group, players and coaches alike, have come together and really practiced some strong camaraderie.
You still get the feeling, too, that Mike Davis is waiting for that just breakout game, that 7 or 8 catch game. And you don't know, in this Brian Harsin offense, you may not see a 7 or 8 catch game outside of what DJ Grant was able to do with the 6 catches in Pasadena. Defensive leaders on the other side of the ball, Kenny Vaccaro was just all over the field in the Rose Bowl and continues to really show how important he is to this Texas defense with 13 tackles. Emmanuel Acho had 2 tackles for loss and did have that 1 sack. 3-way tie for interceptions. Bindum, Phillips, Vaccaro all had picks, all in the first quarter. We talked about how important momentum is for a young team. The defense, the secondary, they really got this Texas team in a good spot and put the offense in some great spots. As we take a look at Mr. Acho right now, and even though it's week 3, you're still going to work on some basic things like form tackling, right, Ahmad?
And I love it. And, the funny thing is the players, there's a certain appreciation you have to it, too, because, things can become mundane at practice like it would for anybody else who works a corporate job, and you come in and you do the same thing each and every day. But part of being a good athlete and training at this level is you have to do things repetitively in order to make sure that you're ready for ball games. And this is just the old school drill. Guys like Mike Singletary and Dick Butkus who are doing this drill, and it's just teaching the proper way to where to put your face mask and where to put your hands and where you drive with your feet.
What is the technique here? I mean, where do you want to put your hands there?
Well, your hands definitely want to go behind and want to be strong for sure.
Okay. Well, if you take a look at keeping drives alive, Texas has been able to do that on third down. Their third down conversions against UCLA, 6 of 7 for 148 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown coming on the DJ Grant pass, but the money downs, as they call them, Ahmad, and you've talked about as a defender, there's nothing that will put your head down quicker than if you feel like you have someone stopped and on 3rd and 7, they keep the chains moving.
KD, it is demoralizing to a defense because unless you cause a fumble, get a pick, they have at least 3 more downs,
right, and
maybe even 4, depending on the distance, to get another first down to keep you on for another 4 or 5 plays. And it's those 12, 13 play drives that really just wear you out as a defense. And for the rest of the game, you're trying to recover. And this team has been so efficient and effective on 3rd downs, and they've done it in a number of ways, from allowing Jackson Shipley, Marquise Goodwin to come across the middle and hand them off the football, to David Ash converting on 2 3rd downs via the air on Saturday, to Case McCoy bouncing around and running around like wild back there. They've done it just about every way you can think, and I can guarantee you right now, Iowa State has a game this week, but next week when they come to look at film and they break down their 3rd down package, they're going to have an array of things to study and an array of things to prepare for.
It's Major Applewhite with the black top and the white baseball cap. Major's co-offensive coordinator and running backs coach. And there you see Brian Harsin, the other co-offensive coordinator who calls the plays and quarterbacks coach. 2 former college quarterbacks. That has to help out for the quarterbacks that are on campus right now.
I agree. And, you think, well, what does it help? Of course, Major Applewhite, more specifically because he knows what it's like to play on this stage. And if you ask me, Major Applewhite was the guy that, after James Brown, really brought that position back to life. And he really brought it back to a prominent spot where he was a Big 12 Player of the Year. He knows what it is, what it's like to handle that type of scrutiny. And then Brian Harsin, being a quarterback, both of these guys have the mental capacity to teach a guy how to think. Part of being a quarterback, the reason why you don't let them hit in practice is because they have to be mental machines.
Right.
They have to know so many things, and they do a great job at preparing them with that.
Longhorn Extra, weeknights at 10 p.m. Central. Tonight, Andy Katz will break down what's going on with the conference realignment. You don't want to miss it. Longhorn Extra right here on Longhorn Network. We'll be back with Texas practice after this.
Well, us girls love Texas sports, and we thought since we have our own channel that we would do something to celebrate, and Barbara got the idea to build a stadium.
We baked it for more than 4 hours.
There's the band, there's Bevo, and this is Coach, but I don't think his legs turned out right. The Longhorn Network has all you care to eat football, plus a huge helping of other great stuff.
We're going to work.
One more.
No holes for the rats to crawl in now.
Lift.
Everybody's working.
Chest up, work your hip.
We got enough football players in here to win every game.
Drive.
You can either be part of the problem or you can be part of the solution. We need solutions.
There we go.
And that's why you become a great football team.
That's how you do it, Luciano.
Texas All Access, Wednesdays at 8 on the Longhorn Network.
And what you're here to do is grow up.
Longhorn Extra is the place to get your daily dose of Texas sports with the latest scores, highlights, and analysis, plus first-hand interviews with the coaches and players. Longhorn Extra, weekdays at 10 p.m. exclusively on Longhorn Network.
Texas All Access, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central, right here on Longhorn Network. You do not want to miss tonight. All Access follows the Texas football team to UCLA. It was a successful trip. You can get All Access and find out what happened inside the Texas football program tonight at 8 p.m. Central, right here on LHN. It's a great show if you have not checked it out. We take a look at the Texas defensive line right now, and Calvin Howe, yesterday we showed you the dreads right there. Guess who ties that up for him? It's that man right there in the orange, Bo Davis, the defensive tackles coach. And Ahmad, Calvin Howe's a guy you could say kind of lost his starting job to Ashton Dorsey. But when you watch the defensive linemen with Bo Davis, and really most of the players with their position coaches, they understand it's a competition. I've been impressed with the chemistry. Usually you lose a job and you pout a little bit. Maybe you're a little upset at your coach. At least from our vantage point, we haven't seen that.
It's the frankness that the coaches preach. And, as players, you just want to be told what the truth is. And Bo Davis is a guy, he doesn't back down from his comments or his position. And players tend to respect that. But at the same time, he loves on you. He's tying your hair up, and it's hard not to respect that. And I've been on both sides of this. I've lost a position. I won the job in 1999. I lost the job in 2000, came back and won a job in 2001. And that is a very difficult thing to do, particularly when you go from the top of the food chain to being a guy who's eating second now.
Yeah.
And, and these are things that
and
you talk about
linemen,
the chemistry.
they want to eat first, man. They don't want to eat second.
Yeah. And they want to feast, they want everything. The thing is, though, when that happens, it's how the guys respond. And that's how you build the chemistry, the understanding of knowing what another player is going through, and the attachment that these athletes have. that keeps them together during the course of a ball game, allows them to come back in the second half of that BYU game, allows them to get out in front at UCLA in a very, very tough environment at the Rose Bowl. And so the chemistry is good, and it's been great to see because the younger guys are listening to the older players, and the older players are telling them right, and the coaches are doing a great job of overseeing everything, and that's great.
Well, how hard is that? Because you look at this Texas team, and the two deep is comprised of so many freshmen and sophomores. You obviously have some veterans that are very talented on this team. Is it up to the upperclassmen to make sure it works, to make sure the chemistry works?
Katie, you're absolutely right. And these are guys that they start this as soon as the seniors depart and you have your first meeting without those guys. Everybody that departed last year and you have your first meeting, and when you return after the holidays back in January, and things change where your seating order changes, even in the team meeting room. Small and minor things that you don't notice. But you tell yourself, I'm now a senior. Mm-hmm. Now guys are relying on me to give them information on what it's like to play in the Cotton Bowl versus Texas OU, what it's like to play in the Rose Bowl. And I think, some guys that deserve some attention, Keyston Randall, who has not just blown up the stat sheet, neither has Blake Gideon or even Keenan Robinson for that matter, but give them credit for what they were able to do during the summer, bringing guys together, making sure that guys were held accountable and responsible for their assignments. It's been great to watch because this is the best that I've seen this team bond together probably since the 2009 year, which is great.
You saw Manny Diaz right there in the background, the defensive coordinator, smiling, having fun. Clearly, you're out here to work, and you're out here to get better, but makes it a lot easier to learn and improve whenever you're having fun.
Well, we all love that. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
No matter what your job is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Whoever's listening right now, whether it's a professor that you enjoy because of his energy and his enthusiasm, and it all starts with Manny Diaz on the defensive side of the ball. From listening to Coach Bo Davis and Oscar Giles, they talked about the reason why players have bought into this system is because he just tells it like it is. There's no sugarcoating it with Manny Diaz, and if you're a player that's not at the top of your depth chart and you go to him and you ask him why, he's going to tell you. And you're going to walk away with an answer. He's not going to dodge or duck your question. And that's the one thing that I've always respected about players. We talked to Coach Akina earlier today. That is why the secondary has such an admiration and respect for him. And Manny Diaz has brought that same type of forthrightness into this program that was needed and necessary.
You get a look at Chris Whaley right there. Came to Texas as a running back, is now playing defensive tackle. He has the body for it, but Texas coaches, Bo Davis, pretty happy with the rotation he has at defensive tackle spot. That certainly was a question heading into the season and was an issue last year. Taylor Bible, Greg Daniels, and there's a youngster, Taylor Martinez, who came in as a center, and he's getting some work on the other side of the ball as well.
And if you don't mind for a second, Katie, you bring up a good point about Chris Whaley. And I'll never forget when Henry Melton back in 2005
great comparison.
was a great running back here, and they ended up moving him. Well, he's starting now for the Chicago Bears defense right in front of Brian Urlacher, and he is wreaking havoc.
He had 7 knockdowns and 2 sacks last Sunday as a defensive tackle. Knockdowns on the quarterback, by the way. Some defensive tackles don't get that in a year. Let's look at UCLA last week. Kenny Vaccaro. Ahmad, you've just been really praising heap on this guy, and you can understand why. I mean, this is a guy who's all over the field. Acho and Robinson, the linebackers, were sideline to sideline, 10 tackles and 9 tackles respectively. And then your secondary guys came up and made some hits. Adrian Phillips with the interception and also 8 tackles. Blake Gideon with 8 tackles as well. Well, the Texas team is done with the bubble. They are leaving the bubble right now. They're going to head outside. That doesn't mean we're done, though. We've got more Texas practice, so we'll continue right after this.
There is nothing like Texas volleyball.
Yes, Rachel Adams with the kill.
Led by senior Rachel Adams, the country's #1 recruiting class is primed to make some noise.
What a shot!
We've got the action, the kills, blocks, and digs Longhorn fans have longed to see. Saturday at 4, Texas takes on Kansas, only on Longhorn Network.
Longhorn Extra, your source for all things UT related, weeknights at 10 p.m. Central. Tonight, Andy Katz will be on to give us the latest on the conference realignment. Don't miss it, Longhorn Extra, right here on Longhorn Network, weeknights at 10 o'clock. Welcome back to Texas Practice alongside Ahmad Brooks. I'm Kevin Dunn, and, Texas is 3-0. They've got a week off. What, as a player, do you focus on this week and this weekend to make sure you don't lose anything?
Fun, physical, and fundamental driven. That's what we've seen this week.
All right, we have seen it. If you want to check out Texas Practice, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Central, right here on Longhorn Network. We hope you enjoyed it. There it is, Earl Christian Campbell, right here on LHN.